Okay, guys, we are live. So for those listening at home, welcome to the Dungeon Musings YouTube channel. My name is Kevin Madison. That is Anna in the background you can hear. And, today, we are playing a very special one-shot of an old favorite of mine. You can tell from the screen likely what we're playing today, but this is Shadowrun 3rd Edition. Of course, my camera is once again background because I still haven't fixed the darn thing for streaming. This is an edition of Shadowrun. It is not the current edition. This is the edition that was released in 1998. It is the final version of sort of the original set of rules. So this is going to be substantially different from the kind of Shadowrun that is in print currently and has been for the last 3 editions. But when have we ever shied away from old games on this channel? With that in mind too, let me share with you who we're playing with today. We got 3 stellar regular faces on the channel who are going to be diving into the shadows, braving the threats of the sixth world. First up, we have Hobbs. Who are you playing, and how many? What's your familiarity with Shadowrun?
Hello, everyone. I am Jason Hobbs. I have read Never Deal with the Dragon back in 1876 when it came out. I am playing Eric Langstrom, who is an orc and an adept, and I could kick either of these guys' ass singularly, but not both at the same time.
Nice. Next up is Dave.
Hey, everybody. I'm Dave. I'm playing Tommy Thorson. He's a human street shaman who is guided by Odin. And I have never played Shadowrun, so the little test run we did just before it came online is my first little taste of the game. So.
Very nice. And last but certainly not least is Arlen.
Hi, I'm Arlen. I'm playing Susie Q, who is a super cybernetically enhanced street samurai. I played the video game Shadowrun Returns, which uses a totally different mechanical system to actually do stuff, very XCOM-y. So I don't have a lot of familiarity with the system beyond our little test run, but I know a little bit about the world.
Nice. All right, guys. So our session, I guess, one thing I'll say for those who are unfamiliar with Shadowrun, the setting or the time period is 2060 in an alternate past and future. In around I think it's 2020 is when 2010, when magic returned to the world. And this Shadowrun is a mix of magic, machine, and man. It is a world very much of cyberpunk with the megacorporations, the squalor that people live in, the corruption, and the espionage and backstabbing and criminals and whatnot that you see in that fiction, blended with a unique kind of fantasy where there are elves and dwarves and whatnot too, and griffins and whatnot, and it's a setting that ultimately feels really, really fucking fun and really like it. You can tackle some interesting issues in kind of allegory without dealing with the actual subject material. And then sometimes it just feels goddamn ridiculous. And usually it's a little bit in the middle where it feels kind of silly but also fun, but it's an enormously fun setting. Where we are opening our session, guys, is with a bright blue open sky. Our session, incidentally, is called Forbidden Fruit. It's an adventure that I really love from the Predator and Prey book that came out in 1998 as well. The blue and open sky is obviously a stark contrast from what we would expect from Shadowrun, from a Squalid and whatnot. What we hear is a roaring of an engine. Big, massive engine, and we see this huge civilian cargo plane flying above. And we cut inside, and this is sort of it's like a cargo picture, like a military-style cargo plane with everyone sitting on the inside, facing inward, with most of the interior made up of cargo and whatnot. There are a number of from the pressed camouflage gear that they've got on and the newness of it, you guess that there's a bunch of scientists, or at least academics, or perhaps corporate types. But sitting across from these are three hardened Shadowrunners. Guys, why don't you give us a... There are windows to look out of, to look down and see what's going on. But what do we see? You guys have been in flight for probably 10, 12 hours at this point. Let's start with Eric. Eric, what do we see Eric doing, and what does he look like?
So Eric is a gray-skinned, hulking orc. I think a lot of times he doesn't bother wearing a shirt. But right now he actually has I'm going old school here. This is from the 80s when I first started know anything about Shadowrun, which I have never played. I didn't add that.
Yeah,
I've only read about it, and I had the books, and I read those things, but I never played. But so he's got just like a black trench coat with a high cowl, and the cowl's flipped up, but it's open, and so you can see these tattoos all over his ripped body. And I think he's kind of grimacing at the other two Shadowrunners, remembering their first run-in when both Susie Q and Eric had a contract out to kill Tommy.
Yeah.
But now they are companions, but he's still kind of remembering that time, rubbing his chin. He's bald. Go ahead. Sorry.
And you're thankful you paid up your dock wagon contract because the synth flesh they used to cover up the bullet holes left by Susie's fucking gun. The tattoos pretty much cover them, unless you know what you're looking for. That's awesome. Okay. And Tommy, our camera pans over to Tommy. What do we see?
Tommy is not bitter about the contract, because that's just the way it works in the world. You know, you piss somebody off, there's a contract goes out on you, but he's happy that the three of us are finally, working together and doing something, not at each other's odds as we had been in the past. Yeah. And I think he's just in quiet contemplation right now about where we're going and what we have to do, and wants to stay focused and looking for the guidance of the Allfather.
And you are kind of in the Allfather's element as well right now. It's not stormy skies, but being this high up, you're a shaman, so you got connections to the nature spirits of the skies. So, and what about Susie? As we pan over to Susie, what's she doing?
So Susie is in kind of she first we see her and she looks almost kind of eerily serene. She's just sort of sitting there, kind of completely calm, and then it's like something clicks on and she pulls out a weapon and cleans it, makes sure that it's going to be effective. Probably not the full-size katana, because that seems like that would be a lot, but pulls out the pistol and checks and makes sure that it's good and puts it away, and then back to this kind of eerie, completely still and 1,000-yard stare. Yep. Just sitting there waiting.
We actually see that because she's got the head-up display feature on her cyber eyes. She's actually watching like old cartoons. It's just not.
Oh god.
All right, so then what? The whole sky truck kind of shakes for a moment, and Tommy, since you're the one who has the connection with the sky, I picture you're the first one to kind of look outside, and you guys can see the view now. And there it is. Iquitos, Peru. Now, none of you have been to Iquitos, Peru before. I'm not sure any of you guys, you can decide for yourself how far you traveled before you found yourself in the Seattle Metroplex and work in the shadows. But I'm not sure that any of you ever thought that you'd be finding yourself flying into this relatively small podunk town on the border with Amazonia. What the hell did you ever do to get yourself to Amazonia? The plane arcs to the side and begins its descent. And let's see whatever you did to get to Amazonia. So, as we see the Skytruck going down towards this, what barely could pass for a runway, It's all torn up, tarmac, and mostly just overgrown grass. We cut back to about a week or so ago. Maybe even less than that, I think, as you leave. It's a day or so ago, because it is quite quick. And we're in the darkened streets of Seattle. It's a whole different kind of jungle from where you're flying into. Towering buildings, huge arcologies, and of course, the thing that dominates the skyline, the massive ziggurat shape of the Renraku arcology. Now blackened, all lights out on it. But the rest of the lights of the Seattle nights certainly more than make up for it as you guys arrive at your destination, Gravity Bar North. You guys come rolling up, and this place has been reworked. It's different from the Gravity Bar downtown, but it has the look of kind of like 30s style Chicago, but mixed with a cyber sheen. There's drones floating around, that are casting strange lights down on the crowd going in. Some folks have fully embraced the sort of the meme, if you will, of the place, and are dressed up in, there's a big troll bouncer outside with a long pinstripe suit on, his hair kind of slicked back, even around the massive horns on his head. And as you guys are standing up, I'm not sure you guys can decide for yourself whether this is a place you would normally be going to if it wasn't for work. But that's where you're coming here for, is for work. As is very common in the shadows, you're meeting with a potential employer who came to you through one of your contacts, a fixer or something like that. A rush job, if you will. And you know that you're meeting with this person under the name that all Shadowrunners meet with. That's Mr. Johnson. So, as first off, you guys probably don't own vehicles, or at least aren't taking vehicles. So, is it a cheap cab? Is it a nice-looking kind of like Shadowrun equivalent of Uber? Is it a limo that you pull up trying to make an impression? I think you could move by public transport. How do you guys arrive here, and how do you look in comparison to how we saw you at the opening?
I think Eric looks the same. He spent most of his money on his gold membership dock card, so he doesn't have much more than what he has, and that's why he does these things. But
Tommy's definitely a street shaman, so probably not rolling in the money. Susie Q's got a few new yen squirreled away. So what do Tommy and Susie look like?
Susie looks fairly similar, probably like wearing kind of sort of like fatigues, right? Basically like generic plain clothes. In this case, they're sort of grayish brown, versus on the plane they were a little greener, maybe to blend in camouflage like. But Susie Q has walked from wherever she's staying because she doesn't trust any type of motorized transportation aside from if the pay is really good. That's what it takes to get her in a car or a bus or a plane or something like that.
Yep.
So
okay. And what about Tommy?
I think Tommy is he's not from Seattle originally, so for him it's this like mythical place of where Kurt Cobain had risen in the long ago past, and he's a bit of like an old 90s grunge fan, so he's probably wearing like a Kurt Cobain shirt and a leather jacket.
Okay.
And trying to like do a little retro look going on.
Sure. So Seattle in the in Shadowrun has a bit of a very important place, because one of the things that's happened in the course of the 40 years since the Awakening is that massive parts of North America have been turned over to something that's been known as collectively the Native American nations. When magic comes back, people shortly before the Awakening, there was a terrorist attack that involved stealing missiles. It led to internment of a bunch of Native American terrorist groups, and then they started doing the ghost dance again. Only this time the ghost dance succeeded, and when magic returned to the world, they found themselves, the conventional forces found themselves facing awakened animals, nature spirits, and powerful shaman who had never forgotten how to work magic. They just didn't have the juice to make it work any longer. So the Native American nations, a lot of the West Coast is turned over to the NAN. There still is the United Canadian and American States, and there is the Confederate States of America in the South. So unsurprisingly, the South, it honestly, up until the last couple of years, it seemed a lot more fictitious. Like, oh, come on, the U.S. is never going to, oh, wait, dystopia, right? So that's the way things are. And Seattle is a place that is sort of a happy like trading point. It's sort of a neutral ground where mega corporations. It's not Native American land. It's part of the United Canadian American States, but it's kind of like what Casablanca would be, like sort of a neutral territory. So because of that, so many mega corporations, so many actual governmental organizations that are all present there. It is a hotbed for shadowrunning activity. Not the only place in the world, but definitely a very, very important place for it. The best and the brightest, arguably, will want to, or at least those who walk the shadows, that's where they're going to want to be. So, as you guys walk up, there's a couple of people who kind of give you who are definitely buying into the lifestyle of, or the look at least of Gravity Bar North. And they're kind of giving you looks up and down as if like, who the fuck do you think you are? The troll bouncer, however, towering 9 feet above you, looks down, kind of eyes you guys over, snorts, and shoves, as if like, go on in. And the lineup of the kind of poser wannabes who want to get in there are like, what? Come on! So, you guys...
Tommy straightens the collar on his leather jacket and gives a little head click, a little neck click.
Nice. You guys walk in, and this is what you find. Picture this, though, filled with... there's 2 different lounges that are open. As you walk in, there's another troll waiting there, too. Again, made up like a kind of a 30s gangster. He looks you guys over, nods his head to the right. You spare a look to the left, and it's full of the people who are probably like the fans of this place, the bar crawlers, who stay there all the time. On the other side, though, on the right, you can see folks, maybe you recognize 1 or 2 faces from similar places, but you can see a bunch of groups of eclectic collections of people, some people wearing clearly magical fetishes around their neck, some that are, wearing, have like obviously cybered eyes. There's one big orc with a huge, like overly unnecessarily chromed cyber arm, leaning heavily on one of these, on the bar, trying to get the attention of the bartender. This is a working crowd. So, I'm assuming you guys are going to grab a table or, a place up against the bar. You hear once or twice that as you're kind of getting yourself settled in, someone come in and ask for Johnson, and everyone kind of looks over, and they say, party of 5. And then one of the groups gets up and walks out. No doubt off to a meeting with another Mr. Johnson. No doubt Gravity Bar North is favored by those Mr. Johnsons who want to make an impression on Shadowrunners. There's going to be about maybe 5... Well, you guys, do you think you guys are very early, a little bit early, on time, or you late?
We're a little late, aren't we?
We're usually a little late.
Okay. So remember, you guys are business people. That is certainly not a way to ingratiate yourself to to folks.
Sudi's been here for a little while waiting on Tommy and Eric, but
Okay. So they come in, and I think that maybe when you come in, there's a girl who walks up who is dressed in kind of like she's got her hair's bobbed. She's got a polka dot kind of dress on, really fitting with the like 30s gun mall kind of look. But the thing that throws it off is reflective silvered eyes and ears. And just from the look of her face, Susie, why don't you give us an intelligence check?
All right, intelligence.
Just to get some dice rolling here. Target number is 4.
Cool. What is the target number? Is 4, I guess?
Yeah. Oh, nice. Yeah. So it's a good look with the ears, but it's surgery. It's surgery to look like an elf. I mean, and from the look of things, fairly cheap surgery. But she comes in, and says, then, Johnson, to you, Susie, party of 3. And she then looks at Eric and Tommy like,
yes, that would be us.
this way. And she leads you along, and you pass through the rest of, like, the rest of this place looks very much like the like what you see in here. But you were led into a separate kind of hallway that has a bunch of really unusual freestanding kind of circular rooms that look like this, guys. And sitting inside that room, you pass one or two of them, and what you find is that there are, for every one that you pass, there's probably like, say, 2 or 3 you pass. There's an equal amount of ones you can see quite clearly through, and other ones that are completely opaque. So you make your way over to this, and you see sitting at the head of the table on the far side, waiting for you guys, or watching for you guys, is this man. Mr. Johnson.
Mr. Johnson.
And when you guys go in, she gestures for you guys to, stops at the door and kind of gestures for you guys to go in. Mr. Johnson stands up. Good evening. I'm Mr. Johnson. Will you join me?
Oi, all right then.
So you guys go in, take a seat. The girl, the elf poser, closes the door. You hear a chunk, and then you see slowly, like as if frost forming on them. Every one of the panes frosts over, leaving you guys completely concealed. And you hear kind of a click and a hum. And I think that you're familiar enough with these types of meetings to know that there's likely a white noise generator going on as well to baffle anyone listening in. Standard operating procedure for a meeting with a Johnson. Mr. Johnson gestures to the array of drinks before you, says, please take your preference. I wasn't sure what you'd like. And it's a collection of like Prohibition era drinks made from soy alcohol, or from what do you call it? Synth alcohol.
Tommy like doesn't wait for anybody else. He just like leans forward and starts, grabs a glass, spice, and starts like mixing some stuff and does a little shake and makes himself like a cocktail while everybody's watching.
Okay. Susie and Eric, what do you guys do?
Eric goes for the Irish whiskey.
Okay.
Is there anything non-alcoholic?
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay, well then Susie will have like a glass of, like fresh water or something, I'm sure is special.
Sparkling water, absolutely. Yeah. So once you get your drinks, and once you have taken a seat, then Mr. Johnson sits down as well too. And he just looks at you all. To business then?
That's what we're here for.
Well, thank you for coming. I represent a local agricultural company that's trying to obtain plant samples from the jungles of Amazonia. What you guys know, Amazonia is the nation that replaced Brazil when awakened creatures basically took over the nation to preserve the magically re-established and reinvigorated rainforest. Dragons, naga, and all sorts of other uplifted or awakened, I should say, animals. And all the humans who side with them, and metahumans who side with them as well. We had made arrangements with the Amazonian government for an authorized expedition into the country, but those arrangements recently fell through. So now we have a fully equipped scientific expedition with nowhere to go. Unless we can get into Amazonia through, and he swirls around the ice in his drink, a less official route, if you catch my meaning. We have transportation, supplies, and local guides ready to go. All we need are some people with experience crossing borders on the quiet. I'm told you're a resourceful group. Would 100 new yen, divided among you, be enough to buy your services for 1 week?
What do we know of resistance?
Out of character, is that like a lot, a little bit?
Yeah, that's a pretty decent sum. What you could do, if you wanted to try and negotiate it higher, what you can do is, if you have negotiation as a skill, you can try and make use of that against his negotiation. If you guys can want to roleplay any of it too, I can also give modifiers to that. If you do not have negotiation, what you can try and do is default to a different skill. But remember, when you default, you add +2 to the target number. So his, I can tell you, just because we're all learning the game, his difficulty is a 6. He has a 6 in negotiation. He's a pretty skilled guy. So if you don't have it and you're defaulting from, say, etiquette or interrogation or intimidation, it will be a... Is it +2 or +3? Hold on here.
Tommy has negotiation.
Oh, does he? Excellent.
And there's a bracket con. And so it's negotiation, con bracket, 3,
Yeah.
5.
So the way specialties work is that it basically use the higher number if you're doing that specific thing. If you're trying to con him or trick him or something like that, if you're just trying to negotiate, use the lower score.
Okay, so because we're gang members, I have a better chance if I try to con him.
Yeah. So what do you think?
Horrible. I look to the others like, you want me to roll this shit?
Well, Susie will ask for a couple of details, like what obviously nothing kind of that would reveal their plans too much, but just like, what sort of resistance are we expecting or anything like that?
The resistance I'm anticipating, if you are the people I've been led to believe you are, then I expect you will know to avoid any resistance. Crossing the border, I find, is much easier when done without the difficulties of customs. No?
How would we actually... So, how are we going to get there, get to whatever staging area, all that sort of stuff?
A cargo plane will take off from SeaTac Airport carrying you, our team, and all necessary supplies in 48 hours.
So you see Susie kind of frown at cargo plane.
What are the rest of you guys? Mr. Johnson.
Check.
Do you have any other questions about the task before you try and enter into negotiations?
Tommy looks over to Eric. Eric's always the last to talk. Tommy's like, this time he needs to talk up.
Well, Eric is a little low on cash flow right now, so to him it sounds like a lot of money. So
Yeah.
It doesn't sound that bad, right? But you seem to be easy to be handing out these new yen. Why so much, I'd ask?
The pay is commensurate with the task and the importance that my employer places on that. If you feel that we've overvalued your abilities, by all means, we'll renegotiate.
Boy, it isn't that then. The question is, what do you know about it that we don't?
So your character would know there's a lot of times where they're leaving you. Remember I mentioned before, like out of character.
Yeah, I got you.
One of the things is you can use your contacts to try and fill in the gaps. It's always a matter of shadow boxing with these guys. You're not going to really know necessarily. You can try and press a little bit, but at a certain point they're going to be like, look, are you here to do a job or are you here to fucking interview me? So what you can do though is on the down low, which is what it's expected from Shadowrunners anyway, is in that 48 hours beforehand, we role play you meeting up with your contacts, being like, "Why the fuck is this guy looking at this? Who is this guy?" That kind of stuff.
I feel like there has to be there's got to be some puffing of chests or something even in the meeting almost.
Sure,
though.
yeah.
That's what I would expect, and that's kind of what I was doing.
Yeah, okay.
And that's
Just
why I
to
was
see
waiting.
if he does give out if old wrinkly face gives out anything.
Why don't you give us a intelligence roll against a target number of 6, please?
And if this is part of that negotiation, I do have etiquette on the cross, if that helps.
So you can roll either intelligence at a target number of 6, or you can roll etiquette at a target number of 8. Whatever your preference is.
I probably should roll intelligence at 6.
Okay.
Let's see if I can do this right. How many dice are you taking from your pool? Submit. What is the target number? 6.
Okay. Remember, you have access to karma as well, too. It refreshes every scene. So, one success. Okay. So, you get the sense that his answer was a little more pointed than what a Johnson might do. Johnsons are, if that's what their real job is, which is just, set up meetings with criminals like yourselves, they're a little more dispassionate about it, or a little more imperious right from the get-go. Maybe you hit a nerve with this guy.
Criminals, we're entrepreneurs. There's a difference.
That's why you have no system identification number.
That stuff just slows you down.
Yeah. All right.
He seems a bit new, Tommy. Up to you, my lad. And I'm not hiding. Eric isn't hiding what he says from Mr. Johnson at all.
Yeah. Tommy will take a big sip and drain the rest of his glass and put it down and say, "All right, let's start talking about costs." And he'll go into a pre-formulated idea of all these costs that they're going to have.
This guy leans forward, and you get a sense that he's now in comfortable terrain. This is something he's more comfortable with. It's negotiations, just numbers, horse trading, than he is the other aspect of it. You can give us a negotiation check there, Tommy, and target number is 6.
Okay.
I remember you can spend karma to get extra dice for the roll if you'd like. And depending on what your result is, you can also spend karma to re-roll or things like that.
So am I using the first box, roll generic skill test?
Yes.
I was just thinking, before he does that, maybe isn't there a way that Arlen or Suzy Q could do something to help with that intimidation you had said? Or
intimidation probably is not going to work. There are definitely people that leaning on is a good thing. Potential employers is not really.
Not usually.
Really. It usually is counterproductive to be like, "I want to work for you, motherfucker. I'll kill you." It's not really. Definitely, there are times for making use of that. However, what you guys could do is take a look at your non-combat skills, your knowledge skills. If there's something that's there, you could use it maybe as a complementary thing. And every 2 successes on that, I'll add a success to Tommy's.
Yeah, so I was thinking Tommy can start going to expenses, and then I'll start talking about the what we know about the actual difficulty of doing a task like this, and how particularly what I'm trying to do is talk about what kind of security we might end up against, and how that would end up being a serious problem for them, and what they're not just buying our skills, but our eventual our kind of abilities as a backup plan.
Yep.
Also.
Are you thinking security procedures?
That's what I was thinking.
Absolutely. Once you roll security procedures, you got 4 in that. Let's put your characters down here so you can have access to your points there. I'll move Mr. Johnson over a scooch. There we go. Give us a 4. Every 2 successes will count 1 success for Tommy.
What target number am I rolling?
Target number is going to be the same thing, so it'd be an 6.
6.
All right. Well, then why don't I add some points from karma since I've got it?
Yep. 1 for 1. Hold on. Actually, I think that's actually not right. I think it's 1 for the first one. No. 1 karma to get an extra dice up to the maximum skill rating. Forgive me. I'm a dummy.
1 karma per extra dice. All right. Well, then I'll spend 3 karma.
Okay.
Why not?
Sure.
And then do roll skill test. How many tests? I'm taking 3 from the pool.
Okay.
Oh, it didn't ask me for the difficulty.
Oh, remember it's at the bottom. You set that.
Oh, yeah. Let me go to final 6. What is your skill? Is 4. And how many dice? I'm taking 3 dice from the pool for karma. That's 2 successes.
2 successes. All right, so you got 1 success here, Tommy, already. Eric, do you have any complementary skills you might want to try here? Anything you can think of?
I mean, all I have is the etiquette, really. I don't have
Not
anything
true.
else.
You have an ability. Don't you have a knowledge skill called magical threats?
Unless it's somewhere on the sheet that I haven't found. No.
On the PDF, it'll be. I didn't put.
Oh, shiitake! I don't even have the PDF open.
Oh, that's okay. Let's take a look here.
Did you send it in?
It's
Discord,
posted. It's posted in Discord.
Where at? Which channel do you remember?
Magical
I'll search for
background.
it.
You have magical background at 4, and the reason I think that would be applicable is because you may have. Amazonia is an awakened nation, meaning that there's a shit ton of magical stuff that's lurking around. What, in the same way that, like the way that metahumans came about is that humans started giving birth to elves and dwarves, and then 10 years later, people went through what's called the unexplained genetic expression, or UGE, and people transformed into orcs or trolls, or variations thereof. In addition to what they called that is the awakening. In addition to the awakening, there's other species on the planet that went through awakening as well. So you can run into awakened crocodiles, or awakened bears, or awakened monkeys and things like that. Awakened rats form these horrible things called devil rats. And that's what an awakened creature is. Your magical background probably would inform you a fair amount about the potential threats of going through the Amazonian jungle.
Okay, cool.
Okay, so it's 4 dice, and of course you can use any karma. Oh, and you used 3, right, Susie?
Yeah, I'll adjust it.
Okay, cool.
All right. And where did you roll it, on the general, or which way did you roll that?
I just used the attack on...
The same thing what we were doing before? Okay.
Yeah, because it lets you modify the target number.
And the target number is 4?
Target number is 6.
6.
He has negotiation.
Oh boy. All right, so 6. I'll use a couple dice.
Okay.
Skill is 4.
There we go.
4. Submit. And how many dice are you using? 2. Submit. Oh, 2 successes.
Nice. All right. So yeah, between Susie's talk about like what kind of organization that's needed, she asked some pointed questions about that, and Eric's able to ask some stuff about, or make comment at least on Brazil. You guys are definitely presenting as credible and competent runners. Tommy, you want to give us your negotiation roll?
Yeah, just don't blow it. Okay, so am I rolling the generic skill test?
Just,
or...
Dave, put yourself in the mindset. I'm rolling for wind. I'm rolling for wind.
What's the weather going to be like, guys? What's the weather? The weather's coming to me.
Here it comes.
Okay, I'm going to my pool. That's karma dice, right?
Yep.
I think 4.
4
I reset
points. Okay.
after this team.
Okay.
And where's my DC target?
It's at the bottom of the sheet. Remember, you set that before you click on?
Yeah, didn't. Maybe I press the button again.
It's a pop-up. Did it go into some other... Is it a pop-up
Target
prompt
number.
for...
Target number 6.
Yes, please. 2. Nice. 2 from you plus 1 from each of your allies brings it up to 4. So what he will say is he is prepared to bump. Oh, no worries, Hobbs. So this is all new pre-gen characters, and play them however you like.
Norse epics, and I feel like the boasting, braggadocious character fits directly into a Norse epic. So
Totally. Yep.
Well, yeah, that part, but the Japanese has me a little concerned.
Because of it's an 80s cyberpunk game.
Everyone has Japanese.
Yep. The Japanese economy dominated the world in the fictitious 2020s and 2060s. So many of the mega corporations are Japanese in the game, which is Japanese culture becomes a big part of cyberpunk. Shadowrun is very much an artifact of its time, too, but it's the fake future that makes it fun. Okay, so then what he agrees to over the course of your conversations is to an extra 20%. So pay 120 new yen. What that'll mean is he will pay you up front 20. I mean, what is that? 24,000 new yen up front, and then the balance payable upon the safe return of the plant samples to Seattle.
Nice. It's only the plant samples and not the actual scientists.
Yeah. Any other questions you have?
Already thinking the rest of the team is disposable. All right, okay, we're good.
Any other questions for Mr. Johnson before he calls it? And if you have it agreed, then he tells you the airstrip to meet up at in 24 hours, and then you'll be flying out. Bring everything you require.
Tommy mixes the second drink and then gives him a little cheers.
So he gets up, leaves you guys, says, please stay as long as you like. It's on me. And he turns, walks up, he opens the door, and as he does, all the lighting goes away, or the opaque stuff, so it's back to looking as it does in the photo. Turns around, closes the door, and you see him walk off. So, what we'll let you guys do is I'm going to say you can call, and this is not necessarily rules as written, but just for the sake of giving you a chance to do some legwork, and then, we'll jump into the actual run. Each of you guys can touch on touch base with two of your different contacts. Now, what you want to judge is, I left it, we talked, for those listening at home, we talked about this before, how the contacts are one of the fun things that players get to get creative with to fill in who these NPCs are. All the NPCs that you've got, because they are listed as level 1, it means that they're probably not going to go out of their way to help you. They will help you. They are acquaintances, but you got to treat them right to keep them. They may be ex-friends who don't really like you all that much. Over the course of it, if it was a campaign, you could raise the levels of them, or you could start the game if you spent more money with higher level contacts. What the only thing that the level really matters with is their willingness to betray you or to sell out information on you. So, what I'd like you guys to do is the other thing is the type of information that you want is going to be linked to who you're contacting to. Like a bartender may not know an awful lot, unless there's some extraordinary reason why, may not know an awful lot about like the military makeup of technology, right? Whereas they may know where people are meeting and who's meeting up with whatnot. So you want to sort of judge who you're calling on with what you're looking for. So this is your chance to sort of plan your next 2 days. What do you guys, what other information? There's something that's a plant from the Amazon. You could have sworn you read something about that or heard something about that on read it on a screen sheet or heard it on some vidcast. The hell was the...
I think Tommy's going to first try and reach out to his talismonger contact, who's a buyer and seller of magical lore. And if they're particularly interested in enchanting ingredients, he might be able to try and figure out where the connection is to this Amazonian plants that we're bringing back, but also a little extra cash maybe. If we can do a side deal and bring a little something extra back without getting in trouble.
Yeah, okay. And I will tell you that if the default NPC for talismongers in almost all of my Shadowrun games is basically Egg Fong from Big Trouble in Little China. It's just like his shop with all this crap around in it and whatnot. Okay, so you're going to call on your talismonger. That sounds good. Eric or Susie, do you have an idea who you're going to call on?
Yeah, I was going to contact my fixer acquaintance, Liam, and see if he knows anything through his many connections.
Nice, sweetie. Maybe Liam's the one who set up the meeting in the first place. Maybe
Okay.
it's a gig that came through him. Okay. And Susie, who are you thinking of calling on first?
I think one of my contacts is an armorer, and I think that is I jokingly my nickname for him is Blunt, so that's what I call him because he's kind of a big like ogre type or something, or the troll.
So an ogre is a European variety. The metahumans actually have regional expressions as well too. European orcs often are a little stockier, they're a little broader, and it's a sub-variant of a metahuman expression. So you can picture it could be like a Polish guy, or it could be like a Cockney, immigrant from London, or whatever you want. Or it could just be a particularly stocky-looking orc.
I think he's just a stocky-looking orc that I joke about him being European, but he's just from the West Coast somewhere.
Anna says hi to everyone. Hello.
Yo, Anna.
Jeez.
Yo, Anna.
Hi, sweetie. Yeah. I know. All right, Hound. All right, so let's start with. We'll do these as a series of cutscenes. Where is it that you're meeting up? Well, first off, do you have a name for your talismonger?
Who are you talking to?
Well, you're
the
only
one with the talismonger.
Yeah, you're the only one with the talismonger.
Oh yeah, talismonger. Sorry. Yeah. Well, I think let's just go with Fong.
Fong. Okay. All right. So you, where do you meet up with Fong? Is he meeting up with you somewhere else? Is he meeting up? Are you meeting up with him in his shop, or?
Fong's got a shop at the front. It lists just like herbs and stuff like that, and then the farther back you go, the more obscure and weird it gets. And if you get on his good side, he'll take you through a side passage and.
So there's definitely
real actions happen.
There is stuff called, just broadly speaking, is called talisma. Talisma is basically like the raw stuff that you use, the magical shit you collect in the wild that you use to fabricate expendable fetishes, regular focuses that are like more powerful versions of fetishes, things that can give you a permanent boost to doing different things. Like Eric, you could, if you save up your new yen, you may be able to afford a weapon focus, which just gives you a bonus, just like a magic weapon. Or Tommy, you could get a pretty badass sustaining focus, which would allow you to maintain a spell without taking a penalty to your target number. Or you could get a spell focus that'll boost your sorcery rating. But what he, so you show up in the shop, and there's probably like there's an older lady who's in there. I've got a wide variety of cheese synth to go in here. So let's move into something different here. Let's see, what's this one? Okay. That's not the one. How about this one? Okay. So you guys are out making your meeting. You walk into Fong's shop, and it just says outside. I'm picturing it being like an old, like converted old, like a used bookshop in the basement of a big old brownstone, and it says, Fong's Fetishes up top. And as you walk in the door, you can see that he's arguing with some lady wearing these outrageously thick glasses over some kind of thing. And, she's saying that she needed to get a southern, the feathers of a brown south warbler, and he got them from a southeast warbler. And they're just involved in he's like, I don't know, East Warbler, West Warbler, I don't know. And he sees you walk in, Tommy. I've got real customers here. Go, feathers are feathers. And he walks over to you. Tommy, tell me you're coming to buy.
I'm looking for some poison dragon's liver. That's our phrase that I've got some good
Sure.
intel.
His eyes kind of get big. Tommy, don't you know you never deal with a dragon?
Only deal with the dragon when I must.
Come. And as he walks past this woman, he kind of, like dismisses her. She's still like counting out the feathers and putting them side by side. He gestures to one of his. He's got a let's say a granddaughter who works in the shop as well too. She goes by and is gonna deal with the lady. He leads you into the back. Tommy, what is it? What do you want then?
Looking for some information and maybe bring you some precious goods. Figure we make a trade.
Okay. Why don't you tell me what precious goods I should be expecting first, and then we can talk about information.
Flora from Magical Place.
Magical place. Are you talking
Yeah.
about going into tribal lands or
What were we calling it? The Amazonia again?
Amazonia? Is the
Yeah. But what's the where the magic rose up there?
in the Amazon? You mean, or the
Yeah.
Well, the Amazon is just like the country of basically if you overlay where Brazil was or Brazil is right now, that's where Amazonia is.
Yeah. I guess Tommy's just going to say like from a place where magic spread it up, whatever.
Okay. Oh, so it didn't awaken there. The Amazon, you're right. Like, if you think of this sort of like the idea of, I mean, it's less popular so now, but when like 10 years ago or 15 years ago when there was this big push for like, oh, we can find all the pharmaceuticals we ever need in the Amazon and all. It's like that, but but real. Like the magic is so present and so common in the Amazon. Like the amount of talisman that you'd be able to collect. Presumably you've never been there, but it would just be like plucking fucking fruit off an apple tree.
Yeah. So Tommy's like, I got a beat on a place we're maybe heading to that, just if I can bring you back a bag full of stuff that might be useful. I just don't know what you need.
What are you thinking?
I don't know. Some kind of Amazonian anything you're looking for?
You're going to the Amazon?
Shh, not so loud.
You're going to the Amazon?
Yeah, that's the plan. But
Are you
I don't
crazy?
know,
Do you know what those Amazonians will do to you if they catch you?
they gotta catch me first. And besides, I'm faster than Eric. Oh wait, maybe Eric's faster than me. Shit.
You brought Eric in on this too?
Nah, it's a group deal.
You're going to be eaten by a basilisk or a dragon.
But
Or
if we
maybe
get
just
out,
a weird
just
mantis
imagine-
will lay eggs in you, rip your head off, and use your corpse for laying eggs.
I get what you're saying, Fong, but like, if I could bring you something back, what could I bring you that's gonna like help you and help me? Because
Why
maybe I
don't
got a
you-
little extra space in my pack, and I wanna.
Yeah. Why don't you, now, Dave? It sounds like you're drawing on some of your background stuff too, your knowledge. If you want to make a complimentary roll first and then make your etiquette roll, the more successes you get, the more information you can get out of this contact, out of Egg.
Okay. So like a knowledge skill,
Yeah, one of your knowledge skills. If you got something in there,
like magical background, like knowing the kinds of plants and animals and stuff that we might come across.
yeah, I'd definitely buy that. The magical
Or
background is something that most of them have, which is pretty.
Or anthropology.
Anthropology is
And-
more. That's the study of man, right? So, or humankind at least. So that's
Yeah.
probably not the one. The magical one would be fine. Why don't you just roll that?
Magical background? Let's
Yeah.
do some magical background. Okay, so I'm going to my roll information tab.
Okay.
And what am I using for my DC?
DC is a 4. Target number for contacts is always a 4.
Okay.
And then
Skill
we're
of
going to
weapon,
make.
that's
What's that?
Skill with weapon. Skill with weapon is the number of dice I'm using.
Yes, correct. And then just add nothing from a pool.
Okay. So am I using karmic dice here, or?
So this is still part of the same scene. We're not transitioning out of this until we go. So you have not spent any karma yet, hi, sweetie.
No, I used 4 in the negotiation.
Okay, so this drop down your. Yes, I know, sweetie. So you have 2 left that you can use. Once we complete this cut, so like this is sort of like the meat and the background. This will all count as one scene. And once this is done, we'll refresh them. Oh shit! Well, that's okay. This is your background roll. It's not your actual roll. Anna, get out of there. Jeez, good girl. She's chasing her tail where all the wires are. Get your tail. Get your tail. Okay, so now you get to make an etiquette roll against target number 4.
An etiquette roll?
Yeah. What kind of etiquette?
With my.
Sorry?
Okay.
There we go. Come on.
Oh, did I use the wrong switch? Yeah.
Good girl.
Etiquette gang, 0 dice, target 4.
2. Okay.
There we go.
All right. So, what information are you looking for?
Stuff he needs that he can only get in Amazon.
Okay, so like that's gonna be stuff that you can get, but what you can draw on him for is information about the job.
Oh yeah. So why would somebody be looking for Amazonian plants and be paying a fortune to bring them back over here?
You're not keeping up on your news, Tommy.
Oh, I got lots of feeds, and those girls who dress up as Hello Kitty and 90s stuff. That's more my thing.
Tommy, it's the will. The will.
The will.
Hold on.
Oh man, I bet Susie's paying attention to
Got
this.
it down here. Hold on.
Susie's definitely been paying attention to this stuff. I know I haven't been paying attention to this stuff.
Dunkelzahn's will.
Oh shit.
Oh, Dunkelzahn's will.
So Dunkelzahn was a great dragon who ran for and won the election for president. And shortly after winning on inauguration night, he was assassinated using some kind of phenomenally powerful magic. So powerful, in fact, that it has an astral rift drifting outside of the Watergate Hotel still to this day. But when Dunkelzahn died, he published his will, which had a huge amount of bizarre requests. Some things very specific about like developing a type of non-lethal ammunition, and other strange things like to the driver of 2020 Camry with license plate number blah blah blah, I leave this. So it's a collection of both like really common and really strange either bequeaths or whatnot. Well, he pulls it up for you. You guys head over to his terminal, pulls it up, and you're flipping through the whole thing. And sure enough, there is a grant of, how many? I can't remember if it's 1 million or 2, but it's a large amount, or substantial amount, to anyone who can grow the giant Brazilian or Amazonian kiwi outside of Amazonia. A specific kind of awakened fruit. There's been other biotech firms that have been trying to pursue that money. If I don't know who you're working for, but if they want you to go in and bring a plant back, my bet is that that'd be the money.
Yeah, that sounds like we're getting chump change.
Well, you know,
we're getting paid pretty well. We don't know how to grow. We don't know how to do any of this shit. Oh, sorry, I wasn't there.
Yeah. Plus, you're
You
also
gotta think big. You gotta think big.
well. Those also. Oh, hi, sweetie. They're also leaving. That there's going to be corporate espionage and whatnot, including people like you being hired to steal those secrets. So or sabotage the efforts.
I would never sell those to Fong.
So he says that's probably what you're being hired for. I think you could probably get a little bit more if you want to ask.
Yeah.
Something that he would know.
Yeah, I'll ask him if he knows more.
What I know about kiwis.
you know who else would be interested?
Everybody.
Yeah. Biotech firms, agricultural firms. Who's the person who's growing this for you? Do they say? No, they never say, do they?
I never said. Just
So?
going through a minimal.
Well, bet you're gonna bring back some kiwis. I tell you one thing: if you are gonna get them, don't eat them,
Don't eat them.
Tommy.
Magically awakened kiwis. Why would I eat them from magically awakened kiwi?
They are almost weaponized hallucinogens. And I can think of, much as it would be funny to see it eaten by an awakened crocodile, I prefer that if you're going to trip your balls off, you do it somewhere safe here and not in the middle of the bush in the Amazon jungle.
That sounds fair. I appreciate your concern, Fong.
All right.
Why I come to you? That's why I come to you.
So you guys, you do a little bit more back and forth with Fong negotiation. Yeah, like he's going to offer, if you bring back stuff that like talisman that you can sell, he'll absolutely buy it.
Okay.
Okay. Sounds also, I mean, because you've got you're working for a corporation, they're probably going to be relying on their extraterritoriality and slip past customs without you ever having to be searched. So if you are able to get your hands on stuff, you may be able to bring it back with no problem. So we cut now to Eric or Susie. Who wants to do their first meetup next?
Arlen, are you ready, or do you want me to go? Or
I can go, but would you like?
I defer to you, sir.
Okay. So we see
collegiality. Jeez.
Walks away from the bar, walks quite a ways, and ends up in front of the St. James Motor Shop, which is, seems like an odd place for somebody who doesn't drive or take the bus or anything like that.
Okay.
And she goes, says hi to somebody, and they just sort of gesture to the back, goes down into the basement, and
I'll put in too. You can actually see the people who are gesturing to get you back. They're younger kids, but you can see the clear data jacks in there too, likely used for rigging, for cybernetically hooking up with vehicles.
Comes down the stairs, and there's a not colossal but a pretty serious amount of firepower hanging on the walls inside what is a makeshift Shadowrunner armory, basically down here beneath St. James's auto repair shop.
Okay.
And so of course the orc who runs this is James, but we call him Blunt because he's kind of a blunt instrument.
Okay. So let's see. He comes walking in, and as is common for orcs, he's pretty freaking strong for his size. Brings in a case, kind of sits it down. The sound of a rattling of metal inside tells you he's probably got a new shipment in, or at least something that fell off the truck of something. The Ares Macrotech logo that's on there tells you Ares Arms is one of the biggest, most profitable subsidiaries of Ares Megacorp. So probably got guns. And he looks over at you, Susie. In the market?
Yeah. Let me cut right to the chase. I'm thinking about taking a trip to the Amazon, or Mr. Johnson wants me to, and I'm wondering what sort of gear I might need from you to deal with whatever we might run into.
All right, Susie, and he leans on the box. Susie, are we talking whatever I might run into? Elephant gun for you got them awakened crocodiles down there. Makara. Or are we talking surface to air missile, feathered serpent, kind of keeping yourself safe?
I think a Sam's a little out of my price range, and really, I would really love information instead of as much as anything else.
That. All right, Susie. What information are you looking for? So what we can do now is you can figure out if there is an approach that you think that you might get a benefit from what do you call it? Another cooperative skill. I'm happy to have you do that. You can't get successes net from the get-go from your cooperative skill, but you can augment as long as you get successes from your parent skill. So what are you thinking? You got something that might help with? I guess one thing to think of: what information are you looking for from him?
So really, what I'm looking for is basically who supplies. I guess what would be kind of like standard equipment for like guards and stuff and all that sort of stuff. What we can expect to run into.
Yeah, like the border patrol kind of stuff.
Yeah, border patrol, and then also maybe like what if he's sold anything recently to anybody who might. I guess he probably wouldn't ask questions about what anybody wants to do with his guns.
Well, you guys are the muscle. You're the ones who are the muscle. So if you're wondering whether anything was sold to Mr. Johnson and whatever company he represents, they probably won't be able to track down that information for you because they wouldn't have bought that stuff. But what you could do, if you want some background information on what kind of forces you're expected or you're likely to come across, he might be able to help you with that.
Yeah, I think what likely, if it comes to a firefight, what sort of stuff are we likely to run into?
Yeah, absolutely. So what are you thinking here? You got a background or a knowledge skill that you think it might be complementary?
Well, I think that I only talked about the problems that might come up with Amazonian border security, but also I know that if we're doing something valuable for somebody, there's somebody else who would want it too, in which case we might run into like even Megacorp security, somebody else after the same goal.
Sure. Yeah, so why don't you... so one of the things, there's a mega corporation in the Shadowrun universe called Aztechnology. Aztechnology is also synonymous with the nation of Aztlan, which is former Mexico. They are one of the big baddies in the setting, making liberal use of a very dangerous kind of magic called blood magic, using the force inherent in a thing's soul and spirit to work magics. They are not friends with the Amazonian government. Very, very much not so. The fact that they fought in the Yucatan, there's been active war between the Amazonian and the not the Yucatan, in the south of that. There has been a war in the Yucatan as well too. That's supposedly backed by Amazonian forces. So why don't you give us a roll of Megacorp security?
Yeah, mega corporate security is what I've got.
So go ahead and roll that, and then make your etiquette test. Let's see how much info you're able to track down.
0.
1. Okay, so it doesn't.
1 success for mega corporate, and then etiquette.
Okay, so that won't carry over. You need 2 in order to have it carry over, but that's okay.
No dice from the pool. Target number is 4.
Nice. Okay. So, what he says, he can't speak to. For one thing, if you think that the Azis have regular use of magic, they look like amateurs compared to the Amazonians. When your government is made up of feathered serpents and great dragons and nagas, it doesn't, and free spirits. They are able to field a military that is incredibly awakened and diverse. It's a pain in the ass from what I hear to deal with. However, those forces are select and generally applied with pinpoint accuracy. Your average Amazonian, they're probably going to have access to a shaman of some kind working around there. But otherwise, they're going to be conventional arms and conventional tactics. No more than 1 shaman per squad. It's a big border to watch. I'd be careful, though. I've heard of stories of strange things coming out of the forest. Strange things keeping an eye on things. The kind of magics they can work down there, it's not like up here. Pretty wild.
Well, thank you for your time.
For the second one, what it'll tell you? How are you planning on getting in?
We've got a cargo plane.
Cargo planes
Getting us close.
going in by river?
I assume so. That seems like the best way to travel.
So, well, you're going to be careful. From what I hear, Amazonian border use GMC Riverine boats. Patrol boats with mounted machine guns. Twins. Keeps them making their way fast up up river fast, down river fast. And then they got that shaman that can speak to whatever the hell they're speaking to get whatever secrets they need out of the jungles. They aren't heavily armored, though. Too hot, from what I hear. If you're heading down there, you might want to think about that. Are you sure? Can't interest you in anything? Surface air missile. The heat down there won't bother you whatsoever. Sturdy as hell, too.
I am very tempted, but right now, I think I'm going to stick with what I got. When I get back, though, we'll see.
Well, here's to hoping you don't get digested. And he pulls out a bit of synth gin, pours some shots, puts it in front of you. For luck, bring bug spray. I hear they get big down there. Clink and ooh, back he goes. All right, and lastly, Eric. Who's your contact you're meeting with? You know what? You guys have got so much info right now. I don't think we need to do a second pass. You guys probably have all the stuff you need. Eric, what are you thinking?
Yeah, so Liam is a fixer, and I think this is after he's got a message from Tommy on his personal. This is what, because obviously the other guy knew Eric as well.
Yep.
So Fenn, I think you said his name was, and so Liam is his office is like at a dojo.
So the other characters, their contacts don't necessarily know you.
Okay, but
yeah,
you did say, you brought Eric into this, so you mentioned that he did know me.
Yeah, Tommy mentioned that Eric's also in on with Fong, remember?
Oh,
and
right.
Fong
Sorry, Tommy did. Yeah, sorry.
Acknowledged.
I thought you were referring to one of his contacts. Tommy's contacts won't necessarily know you, but yeah, Tommy, you guys all know each other. Absolutely. Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah. So,
okay.
But I mean, Tommy mentioned me, but so his contact also mentioned me. He knew me the way you acted with him. That's why I was saying.
Oh, I see what you mean. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So regardless, I mean, it doesn't really matter, but
yeah.
He gave me this information is all I'm going on. So
sure,
you might see him talking with Tommy and saying, hey, Fong said this or whatever. So I'm like, oh, okay. And so like he enters the dojo where some people are, practicing martial arts and doing stuff. And then you move past to where Liam is. Liam isn't necessarily great friends with Eric because Eric is kind of an a-hole anyway. But he obviously got him this job and this contact. And now he's here to ask him, back again. And I picture Liam looking like Liam Neeson. I don't know why, but that was my thought process. And so Eric's intent here is to, Oi, Liam, we're about to head off on that job you got us, man.
Liam kind of gives you a look and looks over at two of the students that are in. He gestures for them to get out of the room. They head out. They know to close the door behind them.
Oi, get out.
Once you get out, they walk out, and then Liam, still like he hasn't moved whatsoever. Well, that's good. What are you telling me for?
Things look good, mate, but I want some information. Who else knows?
You want information?
These flowers. I know there's some other runners on the job. Would you ever count on just us? No.
So Liam, it's unlikely that they would, Mr. Johnson would generally, unless the Mr. Johnson had some reason to hire competing Shadowrunners, it's the Johnson that hires the Shadowrunners individually. Liam,
Right.
unless
So
there's
I was thinking like maybe another Johnson hired somebody else to do the
you
same
could see-
thing.
if there's anyone else who's looking to get someone into the Amazon, sure. Do you have a cooperative or complementary skill you can think of, or are you just going to roll your etiquette?
Well, I was thinking there could be some ways that, I mean, professional bodyguarding kind of sounds like this, where someone may be
Yep.
protecting other people going in.
Sure. Yeah.
So
Yep. Go
I
ahead
was
and roll
wondering if I
that.
could use-
I'd like that as a
use
complimentary for sure.
All right, good. All right. All right. So I think what we were doing is I forgot how to roll complimentary. I'm sorry.
So no, that's okay. It's whatever your rating is against the target number here will be a 4.
Okay, and I can just do it on like the roll information like we have been, right?
Absolutely. Yep.
All right, 4 with 4 is my skill.
Okay. For
I
bodyguarding.
didn't. Yeah.
Okay. Go ahead and roll that. Okay, so you got 1 success in addition to whatever you roll on your etiquette. So go ahead and roll etiquette against target number 4 now, please.
Look, my etiquette is down here. All right.
And you guys can feel free to... Nice. 1. So you got 2 successes. All right, so what he tells you is, to the best of his knowledge, no one else... He's had no one asking around through his usual lines and about hiring anybody to go into the Amazon.
Oh, okay. So that seems interesting to me because I mean, obviously it's a pretty big payday.
Yep.
But maybe other people aren't using that particular tact to try and grow these flowers.
Yeah, well, it's the kiwi plants. I guess. So what you could, follow up on with that is also like maybe why. Why that would like this? How hard is it to go?
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, well, how hard is it to get? Well, turns out that like one of the reasons why why the Amazonians hate the Aztlaners and the Az Technologies Corporation so much is because they are incredibly destructive to the kind of magical background radiation and the kind of magical environment is very much like a natural environment where it can be polluted, it can be distorted, and that can lead to all sorts of unhealthy things happening. The Amazon jungle has been supercharged with magical power to the point where it might be painful to look at in astral space. One of the reasons that they are so protective of that is because there are types of awakened things. The reason they call this the sixth world in it is because there's a theory in the Shadowrun world that magic goes in cycles. It ebbs and flows over the millennia, and that when magic returns, it's just come back again. And it's some things that are locked in either the universe or in the collective unconsciousness that then magic allows that to return to it. And to allow that to really flow, you need to supercharge a place with magical power. So the Amazon is full of all this kind of stuff, but it's not there for the taking. It's there to exist on its own. So if people want to steal their kiwis and then sell them elsewhere, that's going to be something that they're probably not going to be keen with. There's also probably a self-interested reason too, because if you're the only place that's able to grow and sell these incredibly potent magical kiwis, then you've got a control on setting the price on those things. Mm-hmm. So there's 2 reasons. There's a benevolent kind of ecological or magical ecological reason for not doing it, and there's the economical reason. There's stuff that can only grow in Amazonia, and if somehow someone was able to start growing it elsewhere, that would certainly cut into their bottom line, or at least their monopoly.
No kidding.
So, Liam looks and... Are you satisfied then?
Yeah, I am. That sounds good to me.
Yeah, you know what'd be better for me? Another payday. Don't die out there.
Boy, I plan on not dying. I'd bring better people, but I'm stuck with Tommy and Susie Q.
Wait, you're bringing Tommy with you? Didn't Susie shoot you one time?
I've been trying to forget it for some time now.
Remember,
Everybody,
make sure she knows which way she's pointing this time. No?
No doubt, Liam. No
Right.
doubt.
Off with you. Make us money. All right. So you guys, what I was going to say is that you guys, the Matrix, anything you can do with a smartphone, with Zoom or internet connections or whatever else, you guys can all have that contact with each other as well too. And Susie, because of your cybernetic implants, you can just have it display on the inside of your eyes too. You can have it like augmented reality kind of stuff. You know, you can have holographic versions of these guys standing in front of you without a projector or whatever. So, let's assume that this is enough. Do you guys feel like you got enough info? You're ready to do the gig?
I'm ready.
Nice. So then we cut to you guys standing in the gear that we saw you starting the mission with, and waiting to board this plane to head off to to Iquitos, Peru, where apparently you're going to be crossing the border into Amazonia. And what you see loaded on there is perhaps there's that group of scientists that seem to be, or at least the academic types that seem to be standing on one side, are fussing and worrying over the equipment they want to bring with them. You also see loaded onto the back of this thing a really impressive looking like patrol boat. This thing is fucking fly. It has every feature you'd want. Would you please, hey, Jerkitude? Yeah, I know. All right. We'll take our mid-session break in a moment here. She wants to bite me or something. If this is what's taking you down there, good luck to the Amazonian guards catching you in this thing, because this is top of the line thing. You're almost feeling like you'd be underdressed to go on board it, but you'll be fine. Weaponry as well too. There's a nice, sweet medium machine gun mounted on top of the sucker. So with that, you guys head on, and you see one of the scientists walks over to you, and he looks like this. An Asian elf. And he says, so you're to be our security.
Yep, that's us.
Yeah. Good. Once the boat is on board, we'll be heading off. We'll be doing a briefing en route. He seems giddy almost. And the other three scientists, you can see on his, he hasn't introduced himself yet, on his jacket or whatever that he's wearing on the outside, there's a name, Fukuhara. And the other two are Dr. Saunders and Dr. Al-Mansour. Al-Mansour appears to be... Remember I mentioned that there are those different kind of subspecies of the different metahumans? Al-Mansour looks like an orc, but he's really thin and real kind of rangy. Much leaner. And I think anyone who's got magical background, go ahead and give us a magical background roll. Or magic background.
God. I have it. I'm rolling it.
There we go.
Yeah.
Okay. Tommy, is that your one success there?
Yep.
Okay.
Oh, wait. I put my test as 44. No wonder I didn't make it. I got 3 successes.
3 successes. All right. So, Tommy, you're kind of looking like, I think it's something that's odd about him. Eric, you can, maybe this is because of your own meta type. There is a specific taxonomic name for the metahuman subspecies, but the sort of common name is hobgoblin. And it's often more around Arabic, folks of Arabic ancestry that manifest in this very specific kind.
Interesting.
Yeah. So it's those 3 scientists who you're boarding. 3 scientists, 3 runners to keep them safe, and then 1 local contact. Guys, let's take our mid-session break. We'll come back, and we'll talk about what happens en route. And I'll move us over to... your karma pools will refresh now, too, guys. Okay, and we'll check them in chat when we get back, too. All right. Let's get you guys on approach to Iquitos. All right. There we go. Yep. All right, let's check out my chat here. Okay, let's see. Fred, what's going on? Thank you, Fred. Good luck to everybody. Crumb, what's going on? Hello. Lord Cephalion. Nice. Awesome. Okay, thanks. Thanks, Lord Cephalion. Crumb says, good luck. Have fun, chummers. You know it. Oh, nice. Excellent. Crumb's working. Multitasking. Awesome. Jeffrey, what's going on? Obviously, these Shadowrunners are a threat as well, too. Old School, what's going on? Hope the weekend is treating you well. Mo, hi. Hello, hello. Alrighty. Excellent, excellent. Okay, then. Guys, I'll wait for the other guys to get back.
Nobody's here except me and you.
I know. Well, what more do we need? Actually, you might need more. Because the Amazonian jungle, I'm sure, is going to be a terror. I will say there's no way we're going to finish the adventure today, just because we spent time beforehand and we spent time drinking in the scenery and whatnot. But that's completely fine. Mm-hmm. That's part of the fun of the game, I think, is especially like doing the meat and the leg work and stuff like that. Okay, let's get your karma pool up again. There we go. Get Susie's up again as well. There we go. Tommy's just topped up. All right. And then if we had more time and if you guys were more familiar with the game too, what we would do is you guys would gear up as well too. Take some of that advance and start blowing that money on the stuff. Hi, Anna. Did you finish your food? Good girl. Good girl. Yeah. Hi. Is that good? Is that good? Thank you. Dog food kisses. All right. Yeah, because that's one of the fun things is getting the advance. Go and you blow your money. There's a like availability system, so you also use contacts to get gear. Mm-hmm. And then depending on how, like the jokes aside, like the getting a surface-to-air missile on a short notice is going to take a long damn time, whereas like getting a shotgun or sawed-off shotgun would be a piece of piss. Okay.
What the hell?
And guys, so we cut back in with you guys landing in Iquitos. Oh no, we don't. We cut you on the trip out. So en route, doctors. Let's see here, Fukuhara and Saunders and Al-Mansur. The impression you get just seeing them interact with each other, Fukuhara seems to be kind of all business, but excited. Saunders honestly looks like he's kind of a hippie, to be honest. He's joking about like he says to one of you guys, maybe Tommy, that before you smoke anything, run it past me. I'll tell you what we can do and can't. And Al-Mansur is just not. He's a bit standoffish. The only one, Eric, he might be a little more open to you, but not warm by any means. Then, and you can tell from, let's see here, Dr. Fukuhara's accent places him as probably a North American. Same thing with Dr. Saunders. Dr. Al-Mansur's accent would place him somewhere in the Middle East. He's got an Arabic kind of accent. So, then, guys, what happens about partway through is in a bit of, self-serious kind of. Oh, let me switch up music here. We're transitioning to a new scene. Let's try something new out here. What is this one like? A little more high tempo than for a briefing. Oh, shit, fuck. What's this one here? Nope. All right. Yeah, let's use this one. Okay, so, guys, Dr. Fukuhara gets up, and, you know, with a great... Once you guys are on flight, or in sort of the flight altitude, gets up, sets up a trid screen kind of display, and begins his presentation of what to expect here. Dr. Fukuhara's presentation goes on for 45 minutes. Those of you who manage to stay awake or pay any attention, there is a little bit of... there are 3 pertinent facts that you draw from it before he concludes his very long and 3D kind of PowerPoint assisted thing. Fact 1. The Amazonian kiwi is a large fruit that grows on a vine. The team is expected to gather enough samples of the plant to thoroughly analyze them while still leaving enough untouched raw materials to start a domestic crop in the UCAS, in the United Canadian American States. Fact 2. The fruit is apparently edible. However, legends among the local natives suggest that it might be hallucinogenic. Therefore, no one will be permitted to eat any of the kiwis during the expedition. Dr. Sanders leans in and says, "That's right, nobody eat any of them." And Fukuhara's kind of like, and Saunders is like,
Saunders is like, I've already had this. I've already
Yeah.
tried it.
Fact 3. Though the expedition has not pinpointed the exact location of the plants, satellite imaging has indicated a number of likely-looking sites. Dr. Al-Mansour has mapped out a route that covers several of these sites while still allowing the team to take advantage of river travel whenever possible. That's, of course, that massive high-tech boat that you guys saw brought on. Do you have, would any of you guys have, I guess, first off, stayed awake through the bulk of the presentation? And if so, would you have any questions for Dr. Fukuhara?
So Eric actually has his personal device out and has been typing, but he hasn't been taking notes.
Yep.
He's been working on a Viking Edda to in case they don't return.
Nice. Okay. Saving it in the Matrix equivalent of the cloud, no doubt.
That's right.
Got it. Okay. What about Tommy and Susie?
Tommy's been fighting it, trying to stay awake, and I don't know if he thinks Susie's watching videos or something, but I don't know. He keeps looking over, going, "I wish I had some kind of implant or something that I could sit here and stream some music even."
Okay. So you guys land. Unless anything else happens during the flight that you want to have happen. After the presentation, everyone kind of relaxes and gets some sleep. And then you guys find yourself landing in Iquitos. And Iquitos is so much... I mean, I'm not sure what your Shadowrunners were expecting of this place, but it's less. It's less than you expected. You guys land, and... oh, yeah, what about Susie?
Oh, she, it has taken all of her fortitude to stay awake and pay attention for the whole thing. And she, as soon as he's over, says, "All right, no questions." And kind of yes, we're all done.
Okay, I love it. All right, so you guys land, and you you find that the airstrip is pretty freaking meager. I'm not sure. You guys can tell me how long it's been since you've seen this much wildlife actually growing in around an area. SeaTac is mostly ferrocrete and concrete. So, the contrast between SeaTac Airport where you left and this place is pretty shocking. What you see coming over is what looks like a local man who is dressed in really kind of beaten camouflage, and he has a big hat on his head. But this is what he looks like. He walks up and kind of studies, looks at Dr. Al-Mansour. Eyes go over to Dr. Fukuhara, over to Dr. Sanders, does an up and down of Eric, and kind of lands on Susie Q. He walks up, and he says, I'm Bishu. Are you in charge here?
Not exactly.
No? He looks over at you, Tommy. You?
Oh, yeah, that's me.
Who's in charge? And you see Dr. Fukuhara walks up, and he says, you must be the contact that Mr. Johnson arranged. And Bishu kind of snorts. Yes? This is our team. We're just getting all of our supplies, and we will be as soon as if you could show us the your truck to bring you down to the river. We need to bring this, and you can see the boat is being rolled out on its what do you call it? On its
Trailer?
Yeah, the trailer. Thank you. The thing that's carrying it, and he stops as soon as he sees this thing coming out. He, like as if he's offended, he walks up and throws the tarp back that was thrown over it when it was brought in, and he looks at you guys like you're fucking morons. He's no, as he's gesturing at the boat, and Dr. Fukuhara is like, what do you mean? He says, forget this boat. We'll use mine. And Dr. Fukuhara says, well, no, this is equipped with the most there's satellite navigation, there's this and this. And he looks at him like he can't believe what he's hearing. And he says, you think you can get a new and expensive boat like this across the border? Why don't we save the time and paint on it illegal foreign research? We take my boat.
Would that help?
He looks at you. Troca. And you don't need to have it translated from Portuguese. You've certainly heard your fair share of racial slurs in your time. And the sneer, the spit, the wrinkled nose as if they're smelling something bad when he looks at you and looks at Dr. Fukuhara and looks at Dr. Al-Mansour. Yeah, you've run into this before. So, if you have if your character has a bit of historical context as well, metahuman racism is not an unusual thing in the Shadowrun world. But if you happen to be on a country that borders on Amazonia, Amazonia's establishment was not bloodless by any means. So those who fought against Amazonian forces and awakened forces, there's a fair bit of hard feelings in Peru, in Colombia, all the different countries that border on Amazonia. But he, says something to you, spits, and then says, bring your gear. I'll wait in the truck. And he heads off towards an old pickup truck that he's got parked near the airstrip. Dr. Fukuhara comes up to you guys. He says, is this the right strategy? The company spent a lot of money on this boat.
Oi, maybe we can sell it then. For now, I say trust Bicho.
All right. All right. So he heads back to Dr. Saunders, Dr. Fukuhara, or Dr. Al-Mansour. They start packing up their stuff. You guys get your gear. You can assume you've got, traveling gear and camping gear and whatnot with you as well, too. We're not going to worry about all the different gear and shit like that.
Can Susie transport anything, like any technical things off of the old boat onto the new boat that we might need, like some sort of sensors or any of that stuff that would be necessary? I don't know. I don't know. Have that ability. I didn't know she maybe did.
I probably not. There is so the types of skills that would be like constructing and stuff like that. There are what's called build repair versions. Build repair versions of like you have like guns and then guns build repair, cars build repair, aircraft build repair. I don't think any of you characters have that. You buy your stuff. You don't make it yourself. But the scientists are going to grab what things they can. They just can't, they can't pull everything off.
Can we take the medium machine gun with us?
You can try and get it. It is something that can really only be fired from a, what do you call it? Like a
stable.
Stable position. What you'd want is like a some kind of recoil. The recoil on it's going to be catastrophic if you don't have a tripod or something. And this is mounted on it, so
yeah.
I mean, maybe you can find a place to fire it off of his boat, but again, like if the plan is, well, you tell me. You want to bring it with you, or
if we're trying to get through border patrol, it might not be easy to get that size of weapon through.
So that's another thing. Susie, your two cyber arms. Cyber arms come in two different varieties, broadly speaking. There are obvious and there are inconspicuous. Are yours looking like human arms, or are they obviously badass cyber arms?
They're probably inconspicuous and covered, right? Long sleeves down to the wrist, and then just a little bit of. I mean, I'm sure you can tell if you know you're looking for it.
Yep.
But otherwise looks, at a glance like a normal human hand.
Okay, love it. Then, so that will actually help with the blending. I mean, you're quite a strike. Well, you know what? I didn't put to the big versions for those listening at home. Here's what Tommy looks like. Here's what Susie Q looks like. And
we're trying to avoid the
Eric. You're trying to avoid the.
We're trying to avoid border patrol, right? We're not going to try and cross it at a border crossing.
No.
We want to get in, get the plants, and get out, and avoid getting any Amazonia contact, if possible.
Okay. All right. So then you guys pack up everything or grab everything and head over to it. It doesn't look like Bisho is opening the door to let anyone in. So unless one of you opens the door and sit yourself in there, everyone's going to be climbing into the flatbed.
Actually, you know what? Tommy will go sit up front.
Okay. Bisho is sitting there, smoking a cigarette, no doubt with synth tobacco. As you walk in, he looks at you, kind of does an up and down. Once everyone's climbing in the back, he flicks that cigarette out the door, starts up this old thing, and then you start roaring through the, rumbling through the town of Iquitos. It's not to, like, they're what you see here is not the extent of Iquitos, but it's not much more to it. What you guys end up at is something like this. And you see that boat that says Americana on it? You see that bring you over here? Yeah, I did.
Yep.
That is the Golfinho, the dolphin. That is Bisho's boat. So he says, get on. We're going now. So Dr. Fukuhara gets off, and he's kind of gobsmacked with this, and once again turns to, which of you do you think is the effectively the de facto leader of the team?
I don't know if we really have one, but Tommy seems to be the only one who's willing to talk most of the time.
Okay.
That's what I was going to say. Tommy seems like the one we let talk most of the time.
Okay. So Dr. Fukuhara comes over and he says, Mr. Thorson, this is the boat we're taking up? This is the boat.
Discretion. We want anybody who sees us to think we're locals, so they just keep going.
All right, I suppose.
He has a point.
Tommy, would you give me a sensing check, please?
What check?
One of your skills is a sensing. A target number of 4, please. I'll see how many successes you get.
Okay. Target number 4. Make sure I'm on the right thing.
Eric, you don't have a sensing, do you?
No.
No? Okay.
Is this a new scene?
No sense either.
Use some karma point or something?
Can you use karma points? Yeah, you could. I mean, we're going to be in the same scene for a little while for the transition and the trip.
Sure, okay.
Okay. All right. So, what you can, Tommy, when you get off the plane, the thing that, and Eric, why don't you, let's see here. A sensing, I think, is an intelligence check, which means you can make a check with your intelligence against a DC or a target number that is 3 higher, I believe. And you're defaulting to that. So, Eric, why don't you? This is something that only magical or awakened characters could potentially sense. So, give us, Eric, where is it here? A wisdom.
Target number 4. Wisdom or not intelligence?
Intelligence. Forgive me, not wisdom. Wrong game, Madison.
Target number 4.
No, target number 8.
Oh boy.
Yeah, because you're defaulting. But remember, you can use things. Look at that. So when you guys get off the plane, both of you feel like, whew, it's hot. Obviously, it's a different climate to Seattle. You know, it's hot, it's humid. But once you sort of have been settling in here, there's just something else that kind of, there's almost like an electric feel to this place. Like there's just, this is not what things are, you know, it's not how things are like in, what do you call it, in Seattle. Maybe there's been a time when you guys have been, like say you made a run through a corporate lab that had a specific buildup of or concentration of magical, like magical power. Just like in the, well, not just like, but in the world of Shadowrun, there's all sorts of different things that can have an effect on the magical radiation, as it were. The background count is what the eggheads at the Massachusetts Institute of Technology and Thaumaturgy call it. And here, if you guys can tell us if you've experienced something like this where there's a high background count, and it's powerful, like more so than what you felt before, Tommy. And same thing with you, Eric. Like it's you're not one who really, like, you don't have the ability to shift into astral space, but the fact that you draw your power from magic, you can feel it yourself.
Okay.
So
what do we think that means?
It means that magic can sometimes be unpredictable here. Fortunately, Tommy, because of your totem, so you got the connection with sky spirits and stuff. You're not an urban totem. You're not going to be helped by the background count, but you're also not going to be hurt by it. If you were like, say, a rat shaman, and rat was your totem, and you knew all you really knew was the urban sprawl, you'd be really out of your depth here, and you'd be having penalties to your target numbers. Okay. What also, in these places that have high background count, summoning spirits can sometimes be unpredictable. You might get something that's a lot more powerful than you expected. Or they might be more free-willed than what you expect. So just exercise caution when summoning or speaking to the spirits. Unless you guys have anything else to say. Susie, do you think you would have picked up? I mean, I guess like Tommy and Eric, would you guys have either mentioned anything to Susie about that, or would Susie have picked up how strange and out of sort you guys would be kind of acting?
Yeah, maybe kind of. I don't see any. We want to be successful, And so Eric would say something like, Susie, you feel that?
The heat?
You think it's heat, but boy, it's something more. I can feel it in the air. It's the thing that made us, he says, as he Edzo nods towards Fukuhara and Al-Mansur. It's magic. It's everywhere. Keep your steel close. That
Tommy?
just kind of fades off.
So, I mean, how are you? How is this affecting you?
Tommy's trying to figure out if somehow this is a boon or not, and he's trying to figure out like what could go wrong. He's already like planning ahead. It's like, if this goes poorly, this could go freaking really poorly. I gotta be careful what I do when I start manipulating the energies, and so he seeks maybe some guidance from the Allfather.
Okay.
And, in his head, does a little prayer to Odin and says, guide my hand. I'm your vessel here, doing your work.
Cool. So maybe Susie, you see, Tommy strikes me as the way you've been playing him, Dave, as a little bit of a easygoing, smart aleck. But maybe Susie, when you see him grab a rune stone that he hangs around his neck and say something, you knew that's when something's bothering him. Or when someone's trying to shoot at him behind his physical barrier. That seems to put him out of place as well, too. All right. So then if you guys have nothing further you want to do, and you're instructing the doctors to head on board, then guys.
Do you feel it, Eric? Shifting the energies?
Aye, mate. I can feel it. Gives me some tingles in the tangles.
Yes, but is it going to be our benefit or to our detriment? That's what I worry about.
I'm not sure it matters.
The thing
is what it is.
Does it dawn on you that you're not even in the jungle yet?
Yeah, we're outside of the jungle, and it's hitting us. It's going to be insane when we're in there.
So, you guys head onto the onto Bisho's, the Golfinho, and the engines roar up, and you guys get going. This is apparently the actual Amazon going from Iquitos. So this is where we see you guys heading off downriver towards the Amazonian border. You guys, let's see here. Once you guys are all on board, Bisho turns and this is like once you've seen Iquitos disappear out of the line of sight, and you guys are chugging along. You can't see a boat ahead of you, behind you, or anything. Bisho turns. Oh, let's see here. Yeah. When Bisho comes up back up on deck, don't know what he was doing below deck, and says, "All right, let's see, everyone. What did you bring? Come, all of it. What are you guys wearing right now, as far as like obvious weaponry?"
I have a sword and a pistol.
Okay.
Yeah, I've got a sword and a pistol and the SMG on my back, probably.
Okay.
Oh, was I supposed to bring weapons?
Bisho shakes his head. No. The guards know me. The border guards know me. I bring tourists up and down the river, in and out of Amazonia. And he sort of gestures at you with disgust, Eric. You don't look like tourists, comprendem? So we have two choices. We can stand around like tourists and act dumb, which means explaining real fast in Portuguese why a killing machine is going on a little pleasure cruise to Amazonia. Or we hide until they check the boat. They do it quick and without fuss, unless someone says or does something stupid. And he's looking square at you, Eric. Your decision. We hide this. We hide. And he gestures at Eric again. This. He gestures at your weapons. Or we don't go to Amazonia.
I can hide, mate.
Where?
Glance down at the boat. Underwater.
I have a space. Okay, glance down. You think in the water. You think in the water. You're going to go under and in the water? You know what's in the water?
You're the guide, mate.
Maybe you make dinner for a caiman. Maybe you make dinner. Piranhas? You know what awakened piranhas look like? Troga? And Dr. Fukuhara kind of steps in and is like, now, I don't think that this needs to be quite so adversarial. We can certainly, and Bisho looks, snaps back at him. Says, what would you know? What would you know at all? This is my boat. This is my cruise. We do it my way or we get turned back at the border. And he looks over at you, Susie. You're in charge here. What do you think? You think it's smart to go with looking like you're ready to invade? Or do we go in looking like tourists?
You mentioned having a space?
Yes. And he kind of brings down to the back. There is a little bit of a, beneath, like a sort of a sub cabin down here. In the engine room, there is a, sort of stuff behind where sort of the bulk is. He pulls it out, and there is a little secret cache there. You could certainly fit your weapons in there, but you probably wouldn't fit a person in there. Maybe a dwarf, if they were really thin, could get jammed in there. There's also cabins below as well too. I mean, by cabins I mean like tiny little closets that happen to have a set of bunks in them.
How does spellcasting work, Kev?
What do you mean?
Is it like in most of your games? It's like whoa la 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 spell boo schwa.
Oh yeah.
2E. So I'm just curious because I've got an influence spell, and I'm wondering if that is something I can do relatively discreetly from the back of the group, maybe. And
good question. Let's see.
Come across.
I think it is more flashy, and certainly like when someone let's read influence, because I mean like some of them do not. It would kind of defeat the purpose if they were really flashy. So influence is what? It's a control manipulation spell, isn't it? Control manipulation. Yes, which means that your totem, the Allfather, grants you +2 dice when you're casting that.
Yeah.
Implants a suggestion in the victim's mind. Very cool.
I was thinking, like these aren't the tourists you're looking for, but
so I don't think you. I don't think it does. So one of the neat things is the way that spellcasting works, or like advancement in spellcasting works in the game, is that you can get into a to get your magic rating above the 6, you go through a process of what is it called? Not apprenticeship, but I can't remember the name of it offhand. But
some kind of ascension.
Yeah. Oh, initiation. And what happens is you gain these access to these skills called metamagic skills, and what you can do is use them as complementary skills to try and augment your stuff. So singing or dancing or whatever. So, but those are things that you can choose to do. I think you can cast them without all this rigmarole and song and dance if you like. It depends on your style of casting. One thing I can tell you is that with the a shamanic one, there's always a manifestation of the totem. You know, and sometimes that's if you're to the wolf, you might take on characteristics very briefly. You might hear a howl of a wolf, but otherwise, yeah, you could cast it sort of surreptitiously. What do you think the Allfather? I mean, the Allfather is a trickster. What do you think the manifestation would be?
I think it would be like a raven's beak. My face kind of like it looks like a raven briefly, and then
sure, yeah, Hunin and Munir, absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay.
These little spies.
Absolutely. It's thought and memory, isn't it? That's what Hunin and Munir are?
I don't remember. Hunin and Munir?
Yeah, well, I know those are the names. I just can't remember if the translation is the two ravens. Okay, so then, let's see. His target number would be his willpower. Bisho's only got a willpower of 5. So what do you think? You want to give it a go, Tommy?
Well, I wasn't going to do it on Bishu. I was thinking if we get caught up with some guards while they're talking to Bishu, I stand at the back of the group and try to discreetly use my power on whoever the head of the border patrol is or whatever, and get us a little easier pass through.
So you want to hear one cool thing about magic in Shadowrun? Most spells are line of sight. As long as you can see them, you can see on the boat, whatever manifestation or shamanic mask that appears, you've got a good distance between them, right?
Yep.
Okay. So, do you wish to put your stuff in this supply thing? Or
Sure.
do you have another proposal for keeping it hidden?
My weapons in here and gesture for Eric to do the same.
Eric shrugs, tosses his stuff in.
Okay.
These are the real weapons, eh? Glances down at his hands.
Hey. Bishu shakes his head and heads back up. I guess as soon as he's gone, Susie, do you kind of pop the spurs?
Probably not actual like pop it, but you can tell that she's thinking about that and that Eric is remembering that time when she popped him out to block his sword attack. And
Yeah. And of course, Eric's not joking that he's got his deadly weapons. So then, when you guys get back up on boat, then Bishu brings out a like cardboard box and places it down. He says, "All right, everyone around. If we are heading into Amazonia, it is a very powerful magic place, and ritual has great meaning there. And there is a great ritual, a river ritual, which we must perform before we get anywhere close to the border." And he reaches into the box, and he pulls out, and he's got a big grin on his face, clearly at your expense. The first time you've seen him smile. You'll make believable tourists with a little protective coloration. And he tosses T-shirts at you. They come in a variety of neon orange or lime green. And when you open them up, what they say is, "I survived the Amazon with Captain Bishu."
I look at the others.
He laughs.
I look at the others like, do we have to like endure the indecency or the indignity?
I would imagine like our ballistic vest or whatever is probably has to get stashed as well, because that's obviously going to be.
Yeah.
I mean, I think Eric pretty quickly kind of looks, rifles through and picks them up, and it's obviously way too small. Picks up another one and then settles with like a tie-dye one.
Nice.
Puts it on, bulk.
Yeah,
stretching the seams.
And Bisho is just like you can clear like the fact that you're happy with it just deflates him as well too. He was really hoping for this to be his power play.
Tommy's Tommy's the opposite. He's like kind of skinny, and so he like looks for like maybe a medium, and tries to find one that's like a one size fits all, maybe smaller on that size. And he like puts it on, and it looks big, so he's like tries to like tie a knot on the side to try and like tuck it in, so it looks a little leaner on him.
Yep. Okay, and what about Susie?
Susie's going to ask if there's any place with, some privacy on the boat, because she's not going to change in front of everybody.
For sure. One of the cabins you can easily go to.
Yeah. So she comes out wearing the t-shirt, looking, kind of completely furious at the indecency of this particular getup. And then also, if you're the sort that's into, really angry women, you might be like, oh man, she looks really good too.
So you got your three scientists who are all in t-shirts that are way too big. You got Tommy in a oversized one, Eric in a well-fitted one, Susie in hers looking dejected. It's a motley bunch, but you do look a little closer to like actual tourists at this point. He, as Bijou sort of pushes past you guys, he says to Susie and Eric, "You two stay out of sight as much as you can. You look like you're ready to murder someone." And he heads off to the end of the boat. By about...
Tommy tells the others about his plan to influence if things aren't looking so good. And he's like, I gotta go. I want to be able to have line of sight, but I gotta sit far enough back that they can't see, what I'm actually doing.
Mm-hmm. So something else you can do, Tommy, is the kinds of, just to quickly talk about the spirits. You can, I mentioned in the video, the kind of intro video, that like there's nature spirits are sort of restricted by different domains. So like a river spirit can have a lot of effect and whatever else on the when you're on the river. It could not extend into the domain because a forest spirit would be that domain. A forest spirit would not be able to go into the street because that would be a city spirit's domain, and a street spirit could not go into a house because that would be a hearth spirit's domain. But what you can get from them is the types of, like, you can do like the typical like D&D style, like summon a spirit, send it to fight for you stuff, but there are a lot more creative uses of their powers, and they have a wide variety of things. These include things like, for instance, to be able to hide you. Like, for instance, to be able to guard you against...
About like fog. Would fog be an air spirit realm? Or
that would be fog. Let's see here. So that is concealment. And a water... Let's see here. A river spirit. River spirit has concealment. They could magically conceal you guys. They can also engulf... they can guard. They can cause accidents to befall your foes. To, like, say, have a mishap with a propeller or something like that. To the degree that the power of spirit that you summon can be done. And you just like spellcasting, you resist drain when you summon a nature spirit. But until its tasks, it stays either until its tasks are done, which is how many successes you roll, or sun up or sundown. Or you leave its domain, obviously. Just so you're clear, what you're, as a full mage, what you're capable of doing. You can also, I mentioned, you can project yourself into astral space as well, too. But astral space here, too, boy, oh boy, that's the place of spirits, and this place seems full of them.
Might not be the best idea.
At the very least, it would be interesting. So, just bear that in mind as something you can do, and the things they can do for searching and whatever else, or hiding or whatever, it's just restricted by their domain and by how powerful they are. It is likely that if the border forces have the reputation, or like they live up to their reputation, they're probably making use of spirits as well. You can also use your conjuring to dismiss spirits.
Get rid of whatever boon they're aiding using braid.
You're using, sorry?
I said get rid of whatever boon they're getting from their aid.
Precisely. Yeah. Okay. All right then, guys. By the end of day, it's like maybe mid-afternoon when you guys finally reach the actually the border town. The place you're going to is a place called Letitia, and Letitia, it was described as a what do you call it? A town or a city. It does not look like it from the river. What you see is a bunch of jumble of buildings, a couple of really big gun towers, and one very fast, very well-armed patrol boat. There's also about 100 boats that are parked along the makeshift docks and that are beached along the shores. Those kind of like long, things that have a single propeller engine, marked or propped in the back that they operate with a big pole. It's hard to believe, but Bichot's boat looks state-of-the-art by comparison to the rest, and you really can see that had you brought that fancy boat that was supplied to you, you would look as out of place as like a Concorde landing in medieval times. So you guys bring Bichot brings the Golfinho up to the docks, and there is one guard. Did I remember to put them up here? That you see, an Amazonian soldier comes walking up to guys to the boat, and he says something in Portuguese. I didn't bother putting down languages, but I put some languages down for you guys. I think you don't speak Portuguese. So what Bichot told you, the passports. He got you to provide the passports that you guys were supplied by Mr. Johnson. He says, come. Takes all the passports, heads over, and the soldier takes them, and starts kind of like running them through a scanner, checking them. He talks a bit. There's a bit of a back and forth with the Bichot, and then the guard turns without returning the passports and heads back towards the other end of the dock. Dr. Fukuhara kind of leans in to you, Tommy. Did he take our passports? Is that normal?
I've never been here. How would I know? Just sit tight, relax. You look uptight. You look suspicious. Think about your research. Something that makes you smile.
Something that makes me... And he sort of is shut up by Bichot returning. And Bichot says that we're not going over the border tonight. And Dr. Fukuhara says, wait, what? No, we have to go over tonight. We contracted you to go over tonight. And Bichot says, we're not going over tonight. Border's closed.
Why, Bichot?
He looks at you. Football. And you look around, and you realize that there are a couple of bars that look like right near the edge of the dock. People are all crowded around these trid sets. Would any of you guys either keep up with or like be mindful of any sports? Hi, sweetie, come here.
I don't think so, which is kind of weird, maybe, but
okay. So he shrugs and says, "Sports, football, it's a religion." So if you press him a little bit further, it seems like there's a big, like the Amazonian national team is playing a big game today. So they've shut down everything so that everyone can watch this. So the scientists obviously are not pleased with this. And Bichot just goes back to the spot on his boat where he's been sitting before, props his hat forward, and proceeds to start napping. What do you guys do?
Until there's a problem, we should just follow Bichot's lead, I think.
Oi. Bichot's a nutter, Tommy.
Oh, sorry, what'd you say, Hobbs?
I said, Bishu's a nutter, Tommy.
Bishu's another. Yeah.
we should use it to get across the border now without that border patrol bothering us. Somebody take out their comms, slow down their boat, and we got easy sailing.
So the unfortunately, what was not contracted with you guys, you have a Decker friend who may have been able to help do that kind of thing, slice whatever system that they've got here or hack the system and shut down those kind of things, even perhaps shut down contact with things upstream. But no one thought that a computer expert would be necessary for going into the jungle. So you have no such expertise today.
I who picked this team?
You mean George couldn't play?
So,
or somebody else didn't play.
So what do you guys want to do with your day? Everyone is clearly, at least everyone in Letitia is getting ready for this big game.
Do you want me to try and influence that guard to process our passports?
Seems like it might be risky.
So it seems like we should ask Bishu about them keeping our passports, right? Like, surely if they're not going to let us through, they should return them.
So are you going to go back and ask him about that?
Yeah. I'm going to,
Okay. So
kick his chair or something and say,
like in just classic asshole fashion, he's leaning back. He's got his hat over his face. You walk up, and for the first little bit, I'll tell you when he takes the hat off. Otherwise, you can assume he's keeping his hat on while he's talking to you. So what do you say when you walk up?
If the border is closed and we can't get through today, why didn't they give us our passports back?
Why? We wanted to get through. They don't want to let us through. One way to make sure we don't go through is keep the passports. Are you in a rush to go without your passport?
Not, but I would like to have it if we're not going to use it right now.
Tomorrow. Tomorrow we'll go through. Maybe the next day.
Is there a football game scheduled for tomorrow?
No, but there's the football game, and there's recovering from the football game. Now, you guys can, we talked about like when intimidation is appropriate or possible or whatnot. This guy's a local hire. You guys are the ones in charge of keeping these people safe and keeping them on task. The scientists can feel free to, to take, give directions and whatnot for things that are important for the scientific part of the expedition. You guys are the ones who are tasked with getting this done, so you can feel free to be more assertive with local talent if you choose to.
This seems like the time, kind of, but I don't know exactly what we would do. I'm not like an intimidating guy or anything. I mean, I am, but it's not like
7.5 foot
processed in that.
Yep.
And I don't think like intimidating Bishu isn't necessarily going to help us.
I don't mean to say that that's the only thing you need to do. I just want to help you understand where you're sort of where the line is for what's appropriate and not appropriate for you guys. You're here to get the job done. If this stupid fucking local, townie is just going to be an asshole and get in your way of it, and it's not reasonable, you can feel free to, adjust his attitude, as it were.
And these aren't actually our passports. They're like made up passports.
Oh yeah, they're falsified.
They keep them. Who gives a flying fuck?
They may be actually, and it's the ones it's false ones for there as well too. But the trouble is,
false passport you can have forever because I don't really care and I'm not coming back here.
Yep.
What do you guys think about going to watch the football game and causing enough of a scene that they want to get rid of us? They want to process us through.
I say we just get Bishu to bring that guard back, and I'll cast a spell on the guard to make him process our passport.
Okay.
I think yeah. So Susie Hugh sort of steps up, says, Bishu, let's get our passports back. And by that I mean you can go talk to the guard, or I can go talk to the guard. Seems like it's better for all of us if you talk to the guard and get us on through.
He does, again, in classic asshole fashion, he gives an over-elaborate before moving his hat and says, what do you think, lady? I just go up and ask nice and he'll give them back? Soccer, a religion. And he goes as if he's going to put his hat back on. Do you have intimidation or anything like that?
I don't think so.
So what we can do is, I think intimidation is, what's your charisma?
My charisma is 3.
Okay. So this is where you can also use, where your stats fall down, where you can use karma to offset that stuff. Just because you don't have skills in something, you can still do the default. So you could roll, let's see here, intimidate, I think is against willpower. And what you could do is roll your charisma against, I think it's just willpower plus 4. Yeah, against willpower. And if you got a complementary skill that you think might help with that, you can also augment the chances with that. I won't make it an opposed roll, so all you would need is 1 if you choose. Bishu's willpower is a 5. That'll be a 9 target number.
All right, here's what I'm going to do, since I'm supposed to be like a samurai or that. I'm going to start. Bishu's doing his kind of long-winded thing, so I'm going to pull up a chair, kind of slam it down, and sit down in front of him, and I start telling him a story about a number of Ronin defending their lord and then avenging their lord, and about the links that these characters will go to get the job done.
Yeah.
And then I gesture back to the back and to Eric and say, let's be clear here.
Yeah.
There's a whole company of Ronin in your presence, and we had better get our job done.
So, and you could even, because I think Susie speaks Japanese too, so she could be slipping
Yeah,
in.
so I can say that in Japanese or something like
Yeah,
that.
slipping in a little bit with some peppered, pointed Japanese. So why don't you, sounds like you're using Bushido philosophy?
That's what I was thinking.
Sure. So give us first a complimentary skill roll. Let's see how you do for that. I am going to give you a +1 circumstance bonus to this just because you're a big, scary street samurai. So it'll be an 8.
Complimentary skill roll at 8.
Well, I mean, like, the amount of cyberware in her is worth more than 10 Golfinhos, so...
How many dice? Not well. Ooh, I could spend karma to add dice to the pool.
You also,
but it's less efficient now, right? It's more efficient to do it on the intimidate roll.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Definitely.
Okay, then I'll save him for the intimidate roll. Target number of 8.
Okay. That's 1 success. Nice. So you just need to get a success with. That's a really good roll. Jeepers.
Yeah, on five dice.
Okay. Then why don't you give us a charisma roll now? And this one you can feel free to augment with charisma or with karma up to the max of your stat.
All right, I'm going to add. I'm gonna add all 3.
Okay.
Because I can get 6 dice for 8. I'm gonna add 3 charisma. Target number is 8, or is it still 9?
8 as well.
Ooh. And then I'll spend 1 more karma to reroll everything.
Okay. Come on, you just need 1 success.
Oh.
Now, you could, as an example, burn 1 point of karma to get an automatic to get 1 success.
Oh,
That's what you should have done to begin with. Yeah.
That would reduce your karma pool to 5, but it guarantees you, it buys you a success.
yep.
If this was a campaign, that would be a real hard choice.
Yeah, I know.
If it was a campaign, it'd be a hard choice. But at 5:50 p.m., I don't think it's as hard a choice. I think I'm gonna burn a karma and have my one less karma for whenever we come back to Suzuki.
So that is then 2 successes in total. He locks eyes with you for, and holds it for a minute or so. Or not even a minute, but like a few seconds. And he realizes the fucking steely determination that you've got. And it probably dawns on him that, like, you could murder him before he could move his hat. And he kind of sloughs and says, "For what good it'll do?" He gets up and pushes past you, and he once again kind of at you, Eric, and then heads off across the gangplank down the dock, brings the guy, and stands there and kind of calls to the guard. Turns out he's just a bona fide asshole top to bottom, because he's as much of a prick to this guard too. Come on. So the guy comes over, and he's now talking to Bisho. What did you want to do, Tommy? Where were you positioning yourself here?
Well, Tommy's in the boat, and he's kind of sitting so that he can see what Bisho's doing, but he's got maybe some of the scientists standing or sitting around him, so he's kind of barely visible. And he's going to cast influence on the guy who's got our passports.
Okay.
To influence him to process us.
Okay. So I think, you put to process you and letting you through. That's a fucking cool idea. So the guard's willpower is a 4.
Okay.
This is a manipulation spell. So remember, you roll 2 extra dice with this because of your totem.
Okay.
You could add that in as cover dice. And then what do you want to do with your spell pool?
So I put in 2 for the extra dice. How many dice am I taking for casting? That's
for casting. Is it already? Do you mean from your spell pool or from?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
how many?
I'm gonna put 4 in there.
Ooh. Okay.
And then how many dice am I taking for drain resistance?
Yep. 2 for drain, you think?
Yeah.
Okay. Then go ahead and roll. So, and again, target number is 4. Okay. Holy shit. 6 drain. Good lord. What's the drain on this? Drain is serious, so that reduces it to nothing. So what do we see?
I think you see this kind of like shimmer up Tommy's body as the manifestation of the raven starts to happen, and then you just see his head turns into a raven briefly, kind of like a shadowy image that superimposes over him, and then it disappears, and then it reappears as a raven on the guy's shoulder, that only he can see.
That's great.
And the raven's almost whispering in his ear, and that's how the influence.
Okay, awesome. So this guy walks up, he's got that big rifle on him too. He's talking to him, and then he sort of looks down and weep, 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 clears everyone, hands the sticks back, turns and starts walking back in at a relaxed pace. Bishu looks dumbfounded. He walks back on the deck, and he's looking around trying to figure out what the hell happened. He's not doing a very good job of hiding his surprise, but he says, "We've been cleared into Amazonia," and he starts up the Golfinho. You guys take your spots again too in your beautiful new t-shirts, your collector's t-shirts. And I think as we end the session, guys, we will see our heroes in the Golfinho, making your way slowly into or past the border and into Amazonia proper. So, guys, that will bring us to the end of Forbidden Fruit. Now, this is the first part of Forbidden Fruit. We'll have to see another time. Yes. Once again, what
a surprise.
Yeah, what a surprise. We also spent an hour, for those listening at home, we were going to play 4 hours today. We spent the first hour kind of getting ourselves familiar with the combat system because it is very, very different. There's a lot of moving parts in it. I don't think it's too terribly complex once you figure out how everything works, but it is a big meal to swallow. So, yeah, I mean, depending where we'll talk about amongst the players, I'm certainly happy to return here and see the end of the mission here, guys, if you guys are interested. What did you guys, so for, I guess just for a, part 1 of 2, nice. I need to do a better job of running one-shots. So this is a first experience of actually playing Shadowrun. You guys only really got a chance to do one fight, some legwork, and then a little bit of, role-playing stuff too. What did you guys think of it so far?
So what I always hear about Shadowrun, other than what I personally know, is that you spend hours and hours planning something, and then you just kick in the door and forget the whole plan. And this doesn't feel anything like that. So I was pleasantly pleased about that. I thought it was really cool how powerful magic seems and how you can manipulate people with it. I like that. And I also liked how, even though it was just a test, that we kind of shoved that into the narrative.
Definitely. Yeah. I mean, that's credit to you guys more so than the game. But that's the thing I think I like about, like, you guys did a great job of filling in the contacts, and that's part of I think the fun of it is that you, with the contacts and the other NPCs and stuff, it feels a lot like a noir kind of film, in the sense that there's all these colorful characters, like big personalities that you meet. So it for a DM, it takes some of the heavy lifting off of my shoulders, because you guys get to help populate the world too, and I get to play with your toys, by either role playing them or whatever. What about you, Dave? It's the first time you played Shadowrun. What'd you think?
Initially, the character sheet was a little confusing, but that once we figured out how to do the roles for stuff we don't have in the sheet, that wasn't too bad. The magic system is definitely different because there's this cost factor, this drain, and while we didn't really see it on screen today, like that could be a real downside to, like, cracking off spell after spell if you're in an extended combat. So yeah, there's definitely I don't want to blow off all my stuff right now, because man, I could be like laying there unconscious or whatever, but or however the drain works. But yeah, so it's it's interesting. I definitely like the system and would want to play a little more to kind of get a real better feel, like, against some. I'm not gonna say that my friends weren't worthy adversaries, but we weren't really trying to kill. No, but we weren't really trying to kill each other. It was a test thing, right? So, yeah.
Plus, I was trying to kill you, Tom.
And Eric was actually trying to kill me, but I was really just trying to hold out and test my stuff. So
I did shortchange Susie with some of her weapons too, because there was just. She has the character sheet or the archetype starts with so many fucking guns. I was just like, look, she's not going to use all these and carry all these. So there's actually she's got a long arm. She's got another revolver. She is not shorting, not short for weapons. What about you, Arlen? What do you think of?
I shortchanged. I would like all the guns on the character sheet.
We will do that. Yes.
No, but I had a lot of fun. It's a fun, kind of weird world. And yeah, I hadn't played any Shadowrun, and now I have. The combat actually, I think when we finally get one of the Riddle of Steel-like games to the table, you'll find a lot similar to it, because it uses a similar kind of pool investment system and stuff like that. But yeah, it was fun. I got to blast Hobbs' character a couple times with the submachine gun, and then I felt like my character was more suited for combat in the outside of combat stuff, but then it was a lot of fun to get to I mean, I am always a big fan of telling NPCs weird stories to just mess with them, and that
Yep.
you know.
Well, it's
That
nice.
was
I
fun.
wanted to make sure you guys started with a nice pool of karma. Like normally you start with 1 point of karma, and the reason being is because it is the thing. It's the narrative metacurrency that smooths over some of the weirder bits. If you got 3, like if you had just tried to intimidate without even a complementary skill, rolling 3 dice against a target number of 8 or 9, like that's almost never going to happen.
Yeah.
But if you got some karma or a decent amount of karma, that helps you smooth that over. You can have the outcome of the dice rolls meet your expectations in terms of what your character is capable of. These are also starting characters too. Like this is a brand new, fresh to the thing without any karma invested into anything yet. So cool. All right, guys. Well, I mean, I had a fucking blast. This is it's been a long time since I've run Shadowrun, and I had a lot of fun. For those listening at home, we hope that you enjoyed our foray into the Sixth World as well too. If you have any comments, questions, or concerns regarding the session, the game, or the adventure we're playing, again, the adventure we're playing is actually from Predator and Prey. It's an adventure anthology that all has like stuff featuring the awakened wildlife as a theme around them, and they're a lot of them are really fun. It's also this. I like this adventure a lot because there's no hacking and there's no rigging. So 2 of the most, if you think these, like the magic or the combat is a complex system, those 2 are.
And because the urban survival element turned into wilderness survival, is that part of it too? Possibly.
I did pull out from my collection to make sure I had it on hand my Target Wastelands, which has the wilderness survival rules in it. So, but you guys have not. I'm not burdening you with that. There's more than enough to keep track of right now in Shadowrun to get your run before you or walk before you run, right? So, again, for those listening at home, you can find as well a link in the description of the video. I'll probably be chatting about this on the Dungeon Musings Discord at some point as well too, and I did post before the session too. If you want to see the video that I shot for the guys to give an overview of the fundamental mechanics of Shadowrun, you can find that on the general tab of the Dungeon Musings Discord server too. In addition, you can reach me directly at Twitter or on Twitter at Dungeon Musings. You can reach me by email. My email address is dungeonmusings@gmail.com. You can find also a link in the description of the video to something called Heroes Save Villages. That is the charity fundraising campaign that we run on the channel. The charity fundraising benefits SOS Children's Villages International, a terrific organization active in over 130 countries that benefits over 80,000 orphaned and abandoned children. And from now until April, from the date of recording, January 30th, until April 1, 2021, for every $25 Canadian that you donate, you get 1 chance to win the grand prize or one of our other prizes in the first charity raffle for 2021. The grand prize is a copy of Beetle and Grimm's Platinum Edition Icewind Dale Rime of the Frost Maiden. Second prize is a silver edition of the Rime of the Frost Maiden from Beetle and Grimm as well, too. Both very generously donated by them for this raffle. We also have an amazing chainmail dice bag up as a prize made by our very own armor smith here, Dave. Look at that thing. Very fucking cool. There's also a dice tray made by one of our other players, and there are a sweet list of prizes from the Dungeon Musings Red Bubble Shop, including some t-shirts, posters, and some other stuff. So, great prizes to win, and a great cause that benefits kids who could really use some help. And if you go to the Dungeon Musings Discord server as well, too, you can find under the Charity Initiatives tab other ways to contribute and participate in the charity games we run on the channel, including voting for which one we're playing first on February 27th. With that, the last thing I will say is a huge thank you. I know I end the sessions all the way this way, but guys, I told the guys that this was just a game I really wanted to try. I wanted to share with them and get back to the table again. So I really appreciate Hobbs, Dave, and Arlen. Thank you so much for playing this with me today, guys. I had a lot of fun getting back to the Sixth World. I think it's not the last time. So thank you, guys. Awesome. And with that, I will say to those listening at home, thank you so much for joining us back in the Sixth World and on the Amazon River. If you are joining us during the current crisis, we hope that this finds you healthy, safe, and weathering the current crisis as well as can be expected. We hope that we've given you a few hours to take your mind off of the troubles of our world and think about the troubles that our heroes get up to in the Sixth World. And until we see you again, stay safe, stay healthy, and happy gaming.
Bye.